The Flash is a 2023 film directed by IT director Andy Muschietti. The story of the film is Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, realizes he can travel through time and space with the Speed Force. He uses this power to go back in time to save his mother from tragically being murdered. In doing so, he creates an Earth with no metahumans, so he must find a way to fix things before General Zod of Krypton destroys Earth with his armies. To preface, I will be spoiling this movie, so you have been warned. Spoilers ahead. If you don't care, continue listening. So this movie is a loose adaptation of the Flashpoint paradox, and I mean loose. No war between Atlantis and Themyscira, no Thomas Wayne, no Superman, and most importantly, no Reverse Flash. The Flash is my third favorite superhero, behind Superman and Spider-Man. The dichotomy between the Flash and the Reverse Flash is one of my favorites in all of storytelling. And it didn't get any love in this movie that it rightfully deserves, and the love it got in Flashpoint. And to my point, Flashpoint is not a story that you start your Flash movies with. That's like killing Superman in your second movie of your universe. Not trying to piss you off, Snyder fans. I actually really like Batman v Superman, especially the director's cut. But killing Superman that early, that's a bit of a blowing your load, if you will. So starting the Flash movies with the Flashpoint paradox is paradoxical. Anyway, so the movie starts with Barry helping Batman stop this terrorist from dropping a virus in Gotham. All the other Justice League members are either busy or not answering. Admittedly, the chase is pretty cool on the bridge. There are three things that are glaring out to me about this movie. One is the CGI is terrible, just from the start. Next, the Flash is running. His running has not changed. In fact, it is the same silly whatever that he is doing. And third, Ezra Miller, just like in Justice League, is not a good Flash. He is not Barry Allen. He's just not cast right for the role. If anything, he'd be more of a Wally West. But even then, Wally West is ginger, so I'm not even sure if he's good for that either. Also, I wanted to add that the director said the CGI is supposed to be this bad, so if I say anything else about the CGI throughout this video, I'll just ignore it. Moving on, we get a really bad CGI sequence of babies, a woman, and a dog falling from a building. Flash has to save them all and clean up the mess, like he says, but he's getting hungry. I think that Barry would have got this down by now, the whole hunger situation. Anyway, after saving them all and putting a baby in a microwave, Batman is off dangling off a bridge with the virus in hand. But he is saved by none other than Wonder Woman, who shows up out of nowhere. Wonder Woman saves them with the lasso of truth, which ends up making Batman, Barry, who just showed up, and the criminal blurt out all these funny things that I didn't really laugh at. It was played for laughs, but it was all kind of pointless. And this is probably the last time you will see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, so say goodbye. Next, Barry talks to his dad about a hearing the next day to potentially exonerate him from the wrongful murder of his wife. In this movie, they didn't show who killed Barry's mom. This frustrated me because not only does Barry want to exonerate his father, but shouldn't he also want to know who the killer was? I know in the Flash show it was Reverse Flash that killed his mother, creating a twisted dichotomy between the two that should have been in this movie, but like I said earlier, no Reverse Flash. Unfortunately, the footage that was supposed to exonerate his father didn't at all, because his father never looked up into the camera view, therefore never exonerating him. Upset about the situation, Barry goes for a run, and he runs fast enough to realize that he can travel farther back in time than he did in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was just a few moments to save the JLA from getting nuked by Darkseid. With this, he can go whenever and wherever. But to be honest, the visual of him running in a spot like a bubble in a treadmill, and all of his memories moving in blocks down steps in a way, looked to me like someone picking levels in a video game, except the video game graphics are way better. Anyways, after the discovery, he goes to Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne and tells him about the situation, that he could save his mother and potentially save Bruce's parents. This is one of, if not my favorite scenes out of the entire movie, and probably the last time we'll see Ben Affleck's Batman. A couple of the best lines are here in this scene. Bruce tells him, "Scars are there to build character," and "Don't let tragedy define you." I might have paraphrased those, but those were some great lines. Barry, of course, doesn't listen to the advice Bruce gives him and goes back in time. He then encounters an 18-year-old powerless version of himself, and boy, does the CGI get bad. You can tell which one is Ezra Miller and which one is the spaghetti PS3 rendered CGI model pretty well. It made me cringe multiple times and audibly go, ugh, in the theater. At this point, I kind of checked out of the movie because there's two Ezra Millers, and I didn't write much down until Michael Keaton's Batman showed up. But before he shows up, Barry 1 wants to give Barry 2 his powers. They go to the same lab on the same day that Barry 1 got his powers, but they both get struck by lightning, which makes Barry 1 lose his power. Zod shows up on Earth shortly after, just like in Man of Steel, except the CGI was better 10 years ago in Man of Steel. Michael Shannon's performance as General Zod is so bland in this. You can tell he's just a guy in a suit on a green screen, and he doesn't really want to be there, and he's probably not having any fun. Same with the Faora actress, if that's even really her, because honestly, it might be a CG model. Barry 1 then does some research and realizes all the Justice League don't exist. His actions have caused the erasing of everyone except Batman and Superman, who is actually Supergirl. Both Barrys go to Wayne Manor, which is all disheveled and run down, and so is Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne when they meet him. He's pessimistic and doesn't want to help save the world even though he helped clean up Gotham. Keaton as Batman explains the ontological paradox. Wikipedia's definition is an event, action, or information, object, or person is among the causes of an event, which, in return, causes the original event to happen. He throws down a bowl of spaghetti
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
and says something along the lines of some things and moments intersecting, all that stuff, and the rest goes everywhere else, creating a hot mess. To me, the hot mess metaphor is a perfect way to describe multiverses, time travel, and all that stuff from the past 5 to 7 years of entertainment. It's getting worn down and overused. Yes, it is a huge part of the Flash's character, but the execution here is just not good. Keaton changes his mind about helping when Barry has a moment-to-moment about Bruce losing Alfred. We don't know how or what happened, but it hurt Bruce to the point of retiring. This is when he comes out and gives the
Yeah. I'm Batman.
line, which was meh. Overall, Keaton's performance in this was half okay, half give me that paycheck. So they go and save Supergirl, and it feels like the CGI is somehow getting worse and worse as the movie goes on. Supergirl gets powered up and beats the poor CGI out of them. I wish it did fix them, but it didn't. Now, Supergirl, I was really afraid she was going to be a girl boss in this movie, but she wasn't at all. She was actually pretty alright. But she also wasn't exceptional or spectacular, and I don't think that has anything to do with the actress. I think she wasn't given a whole lot to do, and she was probably told to be pretty stoic and all that stuff, so I wouldn't put this on her, more so as the writing. I would be interested in seeing more of her, even though I'd prefer my Supergirl to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and wearing a skirt. She did good enough to where I'd be interested, but we probably won't see any more of her in James Gunn's rebooted DC universe. I do wish they didn't butcher her hair, though. The change, though, of making Superman Supergirl in this is pointless. Seems like they did it to deviate and diversify. I don't hate it per se, but I don't see why they had to do it. It doesn't take away from the story, at least, and story is paramount to everything. Barry 1 had to get himself struck by lightning with the help of Batman, the Bat-Kite, as well as Supergirl. Yeah, you heard me right, the Bat-Kite. Anyway, one thing I don't think I mentioned is how much I hate his blue lightning. Ever since they changed it, I haven't liked it. But now, when he wears his new 52-looking suit, he has yellow lightning. It was really confusing to me at the start of the movie until I figured it out. It should have never been changed from yellow to begin with. When I saw it back in 2015-16, I think it was Batman v Superman that changed it, I was frustrated and still am to this day. So the two Flashes, Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman, go to fight Zod and his Kryptonian army. I believe I forgot to mention how bad the CGI is in this movie, so I'll mention it again. Zod and Faora and all the Kryptonians in this movie are so interchangeable and basically pointless. They didn't add anything to their characters in this movie at all. I really enjoyed Michael Shannon's General Zod in Man of Steel, too. This performance, though, is so fake and blah, and just give me my paycheck. Zod reveals to Supergirl that they intercepted and killed Kal-El on the way, because they thought he had the Codex. But Supergirl ends up having the Codex inside of her, so he wants to kill her for it. And they do. They kill her, they kill Keaton's Batman, and both Barrys go back in time to try to fix it. And they fail again. Barry 2 getting some Kryptonian injuries along the way. After a few more failed attempts, Barry 1 realizes that this world is impossible to save. Flash 2 gets upset and keeps trying to save it. More failed attempts and injuries lead to a near showdown between Barry 1 and 2, when a third speedster shows up with purple lightning and attacks Barry 1. This third speedster, who was being teased throughout the film, I thought was going to be an older, pessimistic, angry version of Barry Allen, kind of like CW's Flash Savitar from season 4, I believe. And lo and behold, I was right. It was an older, pessimistic, angrier version of Barry 2. He has been fighting to stop General Zod from destroying his planet forever. We also see a couple other multiverses, one that has Adam West's Batman, Christopher Reeve's Superman, and Nicolas Cage's Superman. A few others I missed. The cameos were completely pointless. Evil Flash tries to kill Barry 1 when Barry 2 jumps in the way and takes the blow, thus erasing Evil Flash and Barry 2 from history. Barry is able to go back to his original timeline and he believes all things to be back to normal. Except it's not. When Barry went back to fix things, he changed things enough to make his dad look up in the security footage that would exonerate him from the accusation of killing his mother. He did this by shuffling the tomato sauce cans from the middle shelf to the top shelf. Doing this freed his dad, yes, but turned Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne into George Clooney's Bruce Wayne, and another pointless cameo. There is a post-credit scene, which is one of, if not the worst, post-credit scene I have ever seen in my life. It's Aquaman being drunk and dumber than Barry Allen's Flash. And he just falls asleep in a gutter in the water, and there's nothing to it. At all. The theme of this movie seems to be letting go of things you can't control, and the tragedy and the failure that builds character. But honestly, I can get the same thing out of a 5-minute Thomas the Tank Engine episode from the 80s or 90s.
Rubbish.
And I'd probably cringe a lot less, too. Also, Barry doesn't learn anything from this movie, because he still changed time in the end. Compare this to the Flashpoint paradox, where he learns his lesson and fixes everything. To be honest, this movie is not worth your time. It is mid at best. If you're interested in the Michael Keaton Batman scenes, wait for it to come out on streaming, or wait for those clips to come out on YouTube. I didn't hate this movie. There were cool moments, there was good performances, but it was bogged down by reshoots, rewrites, and terrible CGI. And also, Ezra Miller as Barry Allen is severe miscasting. And according to this movie's box office, no one else wants to go see it either. If you want a good Flash movie, I highly recommend watching the animated movie of the Flashpoint Paradox. It's 1,000,000 times better, it's got greater characters, more compelling story, and it's an hour shorter. Overall score, I give it a 5 out of 10. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a favorite, subscribe to my channel, Junkyard Doodle. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't enjoy this video, leave a comment. If you enjoyed this movie, if you didn't, leave a comment. I like to chat with y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.